All right, I just want to welcome everyone here to the Trescott Street Galleries to kick off the opening of Scott Martin's run for City Council. Again. I noticed we have a lot of public officials here and candidates that are running for office. I know I've done it myself a few years ago. I was an elected official and I was an appointed official, and I know it's a thankless job, and it's a job that takes a lot of dedication, and I just want to commend all the people that put their name out there, that do it. It's not an easy job, and it takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of time away from your family, and it takes a really good person that wants to dedicate themselves to public service, and I commend you all that are here today. So now we come to Scott. Scott had an unsuccessful run 2 years ago, but Scott decided again that he wants to put his name out there again and try to serve the city of Taunton, and I commend him for doing it. I've known Scott for well over 20 years. I met him and his wife through my 33 years of work in the U.S. Postal Service. I come across to meet Scott and his wife, and I don't think there's any other profession in this world that prepares you for what goes on out there is working for the Postal Service, because me, Scott, his wife, we're out in the trenches. We're out meeting people, we're out meeting businesses, we're out meeting residents. You know, we see the economic problems, we see the social issues. Anyone that works for the post office and works with the public has their pulse on what is going out there in the real world. And I think this prepares Scott for a very good chance for him to be actually a very good public servant. You know, he's worked for many years for the Postal Service. He's actually had a lot of time with the union, with labor. He understands labor. He has connections, locally, regionally, statewide, and even nationally. He knows contract negotiations. He knows dealing with personnel, because in his job he's had to do all that, and he understands it well. So I think, in my opinion, Scott is very well prepared to serve this city. He's been a good friend to me. Him and his wife have been excellent friends to me. They're the type of friends that if you have a problem and you need help, they're the type of people that you wouldn't be afraid to go to, because you know that you could count on them. And that's the kind of person that I would like, to represent me in city government. I know there's a lot of good people in this room. There's a lot of good people that are running that are not here today. And he just wants to have one of your votes. He wants to have a chance to try to make a difference. So Scott's a guy that he can work with anyone in this room that's here. He isn't afraid to sit down, roll up his sleeves and do what it takes to be done. He just needs the people of Taunton to give him a chance to listen to his story, to listen to what he is, listen to what he has to say. Because I think if the people really get the time and take the time to meet him, to understand what he stands for, I think they're going to have a really good public servant, just like a lot of you people that are here today with us. So, in conclusion from myself, I just want to wish Scott the best and wish him on a successful campaign this year and onward. So on to our next speaker. Our next speaker that will be joining us now is the current mayor of the city. I believe he's finishing up his fourth term or fifth term? Fourth term. And how many kids you have in college, Tom?
Zero.
Zero yet, so, Tom will probably be looking at another 8 or 9 more terms, but we'll see. So, our next speaker would be the next candidate for mayor, Tom Hoy, Jr.
A little awkward. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Let me get. Let me get out the stuff you wanted me to say, Scott. Let me see. It is certainly a pleasure to be here today in support of my friend Scott Martin. I've known Scott, probably 7 or 8 years now, Scott, at least. I met Scott first in the softball circuit years ago. Scott was somebody, didn't have any kids playing in the league. I was introduced to Scott through Chris White. He says, I got a guy who's been able to help me for a few years. He can't help me on the same night that I have practice. Would you be interested in taking him on? I said, absolutely. So I met Scott, and Scott was like my right hand for the next 2 years. He was there, whether it was just to set up the field and leave, or coach third base, give batting instruction, whatever it was, Scott would go and help. He never asked for anything, never asked for praise, didn't expect anything. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart. Him and his wife did the same thing with basketball, coached for many years, and just did it because they loved the sport, because they loved this community, because they loved the youth of this community. You don't have to be a public servant, you don't have to be in elected office. And I think Scott has epitomized that over the past several years. You just have to look at his numerous Facebook posts throughout the day. I don't know where you find the time sometimes, but it's unbelievable. Like he'll call me or text me with a pothole or a tree problem or what have you, just because he wants to help. He doesn't do it for notoriety. He doesn't do it for praise. He does it because it's the right thing to do. And that's the kind of people we want holding elected office here in the city of Taunton. Scott just does it because it's the right thing to do. And if we all could take that example from Scott Martin, we'd all be a better community. He's just a tremendous person. It's an honor, certainly, to call him my friend for the last several years. And it's an honor to stand here and ask you to give one of your 9 votes to our friend Scott Martin. So without further ado, are we going to hear, am I going back to you, John? Am I going to introduce Scott? I get to do it?
You get to put the microphone on me.
Oh. But Scott just gives his all in whatever he does, and I have no doubt he will do that on the city council as well. So without further ado, I give you Scott Martin.
Thanks, man.
Little silly. There you go, buddy.
Don't snip his hair.
Thanks, Coach.
Good job.
How's that, John? We good? All right. Well, first of all, thank everybody for coming out. Thank you, John, for the kind words. Thank Mayor Hoy for the kind words. I'd also like to thank Ida and Tony and Ida's sister for sitting out front this afternoon, taking everybody's names and everything. For Libby and Union, Carrie and Chris for supplying the food and answering the call right away and helping me out and doing that part. That's the little things that you need people to be willing to do for you is immense. Let's say thank you to my wife. For anybody who does any of this knows you need somebody at home who's going to take care of, and for us it's dogs, and there's 3 of them, so it's not easy. And she's there and it's, another night out, where are you going tonight? But it's never a complaint, it's never a, where are you now? She says, go do it, this is what you want to do, go give it a whirl. So I thank my wife, and I'll announce the candidates in the room and the elected officials in the room right now. So David Souza, school committee, is here. Greg DeMello, school committee, is here. Candidate for city council, Phil Duarte, is here. School committee member Carol Doherty is here. City councilwoman Jeannie Quinn's here. City councilman David Pottier is here. City councilman John McCall. You heard the kind words from Mayor Hoy. Mayor Hoy's here. Candidate for City Council, Danny Dermody, is here. Candidate for City Council, Chris Coit, is here. candidate for City Council, J.P. Marcoux, is here. On the School and Planning Board is Jordan Fieri. And School Committee member, Kahal O'Brien. And my friend from Middleborough, Selectman Alan Frawley, is here. So did we miss anybody? Did we get everybody? All right. So as I announce these people, though I'm trying to get one of their seats on City Council, they've all been so supportive of me. I definitely would not be standing here right now without the support of all of these people, from top to bottom, from the mayor through to TMLP. Whenever I call anybody or text them, it might be the stupidest question in the world. None of them ever do not respond to me. If I ask them to meet me for breakfast, they're always there. That's why I'm standing here. For those people around me have been so supportive, along with my family and friends, have given me the opportunity to stand here before you. So with that, I am so proud and humbled that you're all staring at me as I say that I will be a candidate for City Council this year. So as John said, we ran an unsuccessful campaign in 2017. We came in 13th. We were about 320 votes from 9th place. And we were 420 from 7th place. So I'm asking you, I need some help. I need you to help me get past those 300 votes so I can represent this city. Give me a chance for 2 years. That's all I'm asking for, is one opportunity to see what I can do for the city. So like I said, I'm going to need you to tell your family, your friends, your neighbors, your co-workers, when they ask you, why should we put a vote for Scott Martin? Who is he? What is he about? I got a little sentence for you to tell them. Nice and easy for you to remember. Just tell them he will be a common sense counselor who checks his ego and his personal agendas at the door, and he will do what's right and best for the city of Taunton. So since the election of 17 in November, I figured I'd give you an idea of what I've been doing. In my union life, I was elected second vice president of the branch. So I mean, I'm still a part of the E-board, doing the day-to-day stuff behind the scenes, including doing the budget, though it's not $240 million. We still have a budget we have to follow. I'm still a steward on the floor, dealing with the day-to-day stuff, dealing with management, so that's a help. And I was also appointed the political liaison to Representative Kennedy, which is kind of a nice little thing to be appointed to. In the city, doing stuff around the city, we're still involved with the Pathways Committee. The stuff that the Bike Path is doing, led by Phil Duarte, is just simply amazing. The city's going to be so happy to see the stuff that's coming. That bike path, 2.5 miles through the woods, along with other things around the city, it's going to be a great addition to the city. I was also in 2018 appointed, make myself sound better, appointed, but a member of the Downtown Taunton Foundation. So again, get to meet business owners, help bring events to the city. So that's been a nice little addition too. And personally, I'm still going to meetings. I'm still going to events. I'm still meeting my elected officials. I'm still meeting with department heads. I just met last week with a union official because I'm never going to stop learning to be the best city councilor I can be if I'm elected. So that's why we ask you for one of your 9 votes for that opportunity, because I believe all these things I've been doing is to still prepare to be that councilor that you need and deserve. I'm getting dry mouth. So we hear a lot of things being talked about: a new police station, new fire stations, continued road improvements, sidewalk improvements, keeping our recreational areas clean. That all takes money. At the end of the day, when I sat back and I was thinking about this, what are we all concerned about the most? How much money is coming out of our pocket? So that's going to be my top priority once elected, is to be able to take the relationships I've made with the Downtown Taunton Foundation, the people at the BID, the people at TDC, the Office of Economic and Community Development, and work with Mayor Hoy's office to bring businesses into this city. Because that's what it's about. We need revenue. We need more revenue. If you listen to, in November, the city assessors told us The pie from the tax money is shrinking from the industrial and business, and it's coming out of our pocket more and more. So we need to start focusing. We all need to work together to bring business to the city. Middleborough just had an election. I was listening to their election to people on Thursday. You know what she was talking about? Bringing businesses to Middle. So guess what people in Raynham are talking about? How they're going to bring businesses to Raynham. So we need to work together, put our differences aside, and focus on what's best for Taunton. And bringing business and keeping business into this city is what we really need at the end of the day, because you're tired of going into your pocket. So with that, over the next 7 months, you're going to hear a lot of people say a lot of things what they can do for you, and they will do, and they have done. And I'm asking you, pay attention to everybody. Everybody's opinion is important to you. Listen to what everybody says, because you're voting for 9 people that's going to make up your next council. So when you go to the election, November 5th, and you're standing in that booth, you're holding that pen, and you're getting ready to circle those 9 people, I want you to ask yourself 3 questions. Who do I believe? Who do I trust? And who do I have faith in to do what's right for the city of Taunton? And I'm telling you, you're going to circle Scott Martin this year. Thank you for your support, and thank you for coming.